Day 529 of doing a LeetCode problem every day until I get a job. All right, y'all, we're back again another day, another LeetCode problem where we're doing daily LeetCode problems. And today we have question number 3349, adjacent increasing subarrays detection 1. The difficulty level is easy, so you already know we're going to keep the solution as simple and easy to understand as well. But before we get started, y'all, don't forget to like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. And if you need any new Apple AirPods, go ahead and check out that link in the description so you can get you some. Now let's see what the question says. Given an array nums of n integers and an integer k, determine whether there exist two adjacent subarrays of length k such that both subarrays are strictly increasing. Specifically, check if there are two subarrays starting at indices a and b such that a is less than b, where both subarrays nums of a all the way up to a plus k minus 1 and nums of b all the way up to b plus k minus 1 are strictly increasing. The subarrays must be adjacent, meaning b equals a plus k. Return true if it is possible to find two such subarrays and false otherwise. All right, y'all, so that sounds simple enough, but let's go ahead and take a look at these examples anyway, just to make sure that we are doing this problem correctly. So in example 1, we have our input nums equals an array of integers 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 1, k equals 3. Our output is true. Explanation says the subarray starting at index 2, which is 789, which is strictly increasing, and then the subarray starting at index 5, which is 234, which is also strictly increasing. These two subarrays are adjacent, so the result is true. All right, y'all, so let's go ahead and break this down one step further. What we want to do is find two adjacent subarrays of length k. So first, let's go over what a subarray is. It says a subarray is a contiguous non-empty sequence of elements within an array. So all this means is a contiguous non-empty sequence means all of the elements in the subarray need to be contiguous or right next to each other. So just like 7, 8, 9 are right next to each other, that means it's a contiguous subarray. But say we had 7, 9, 3 and we made that its own array, that would not be contiguous. So we want all of our elements in our subarrays to be contiguous, meaning they're all right next to each other in order or in a row, just like this in the original array. Then once we find subarrays that are strictly increasing, they need to be starting at indices a and b such that a is less than b, where both subarrays nums of a all the way up to a plus k equals 1 and all the way up to b plus k minus 1, k minus 1, meaning they need to be adjacent to each other. So as you can see, this subarray in our output, right, 7, 8, 9, this subarray right here is adjacent to this next subarray 2, 3, 4, right? So as you can see, these two subarrays are right next to each other or adjacent to each other. And since it is possible, then we return true if it is possible to find two such subarrays. So since we were able to find two such subarrays where each of them has a length of k, right? So k equals 3. So since k equals 3, that means each subarray needs to have 3 elements, and they need to be right next to each other. Boom, and they need to be contiguous and increasing. So since we satisfied all of those requirements, the output is true. As you can see, this subarray is strictly increasing. This subarray is strictly increasing. They both have a length of 3, which is equal to k, and they are both right next to each other. So we return true. So just in case that didn't make sense, let's take a look at example 2 where the output is false. So in example 2, we have the input nums equals an array of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, k equals 5. The output is false. So as you can see, just by k equals 5, that means we need to find a subarray of length 5 that is strictly increasing. And as you can see, we cannot do that because once we get after this 4, these two 4s are the same, meaning they're not increasing, and this is our subarray of 5, right? If k was equal to 4, that would be different, but it still would be false because the two subarrays are not adjacent to each other. but at least we will be able to create the two subarrays. With k being 5, we can't even create the two subarrays because this is not strictly increasing, and that has a length of 5. There would be no way to get a subarray of a length of 5 that is strictly increasing, so our output is false, let alone be adjacent to each other. So our output is false. So now that we understand the question, let's get into the fun part, the actual solution. Y'all, solution is not that difficult. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to initialize 2 pointers for the first subarray, A and B, and the second subarray will be offset by K. So we're going to say declare a variable. We're going to come right here. We're going to declare a variable. We're going to set call it A and set that equal to 0. Then we're going to declare another variable called B and set that equal to we're going to set B equal to K, not 0. Boom. Then we're going to create 2 more variables, I and J, which will be used to iterate through both subarrays simultaneously. So we're going to declare a variable called I, set that equal to 1. Then we're going to declare a variable called J and set that equal to K plus 1. Boom. Then we need to count the current streak of consecutive increasing elements in both subarrays. So we could just come underneath this, declare a variable called count, set that equal to 1 to start. And then if K is equal to 1, then any single element qualifies as increasing subarray. So we could just come right here and say if K equals 1, we'll open up the brackets and we will say return true. Boom. Now we need to continue. We need to start iterating through the array, and we need to continue while both I and J are within the array bounds. So we're going to come underneath this if. We're going to say while J is less than nums.count. Boom, we're going to open up the brackets. And we're going to check if both subarrays are currently increasing. So we're going to say if nums square bracket I is greater than nums square bracket I minus 1, and this is going to check the first subarray. Then we need to check the second subarray by coming outside of this, saying and 2 and signs, nums square bracket J is greater than nums square bracket J minus 1. Come outside those square brackets, open up the brackets, and that means both are increasing, so we're going to extend the streak by saying count plus equals 1. Boom. Then if we've reached K consecutive increasing pairs, we need to return true. So we could come right here and say if count equals K, then we can open up the brackets and we can return true. Boom. Else we need to handle our else by coming right here on the if, say else, open up the brackets, and if either sequence breaks, we need to reset the count. So we're going to say count equals 1. Then we need to move both pointers forward by coming underneath this, still inside the while loop. We're going to say I plus equals 1, and we're going to say J plus equals 1. Boom. And if no 2 increasing subarrays of length K are found, we need to return false. So we could just come right here outside of the while loop and say return false. Boom, y'all. That should be all she wrote. Let's give it a run. Make sure it runs properly before we submit it. It's accepted, so let's go ahead and submit it. Make sure it's still accepted after we submit it. And look at that, y'all. 22 milliseconds beats 0% of users. We can definitely get those numbers up, but right now I just wanted to show a solution that's easy to understand and easy to learn from, because if you don't understand the solution, then you probably didn't learn anything. So before we leave, y'all, make sure you get one more look at the code. This is the top part. This is the bottom part. And yeah, y'all, with that being said, I hope y'all learned something today, and I hope to see y'all here tomorrow for another day, another LeetCode problem. See y'all then.